Reddit story, Love versus Dreams. When two people want different futures. Have you ever been in a relationship where everything felt right at first, but over time, you start to realize that you and your partner want completely different things? It's not about falling out of love, but about discovering that your paths in life are taking you in different directions. This is the story of Clara and Ethan. They had been in love for 2 years, but as time passed, Clara began to realize that their futures were no longer aligned, and that's when everything started to fall apart. Clara and Ethan had been inseparable for the first year of their relationship. They met at a mutual friend's party, and their chemistry was undeniable. They shared many common interests. They both loved hiking, traveling, and had similar views on most things. In the beginning, they seemed perfect for each other. They talked about their future, dreamed about getting married, and imagined building a life together. But as time went on, Clara started to notice a shift in their relationship. Ethan had always been the kind of person who was career-driven. He wanted to climb the corporate ladder and wasn't willing to take risks. He loved his comfortable life in the city with its high-paying job and the social circle he had built. Clara, on the other hand, had always wanted something different. She dreamed of traveling the world, living in a smaller town, maybe even starting her own business. She had this longing to live a more free-spirited life, one that was less confined by the rules of a big city. The more they talked about their future, the more Clara realized that their dreams didn't align. She wanted a simpler life, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. But Ethan wasn't willing to give up his ambitions for her dreams. He didn't understand why she wanted to leave the city. He loved the security and success he had found, and he couldn't imagine living any other way. Clara tried to compromise. She tried to convince Ethan that they could make it work. But deep down, she knew that they wanted different things. She still loved him deeply. But as they continued to argue about their futures, she began to feel more and more disconnected from him. She realized that no matter how much they loved each other, their dreams were too different for them to continue on the same path. The love was still there, but it was clear to Clara that they were no longer walking in the same direction. This story speaks to the complex nature of love and the difficult choices we sometimes have to make. Love isn't just about chemistry and attraction. It's about shared goals, values, and visions for the future. In Clara and Ethan's case, their love was genuine, but their dreams didn't align. And as much as they loved each other, those differences became too large to ignore. Sometimes, no matter how much you care for someone, the most important thing is realizing when your paths are no longer in sync. Clara had a vision of her future that didn't involve the city life Ethan wanted so much, and no amount of love could change that. In relationships, we often think that love will conquer all. But the truth is, love can only go so far. It's essential that both partners have the same values and aspirations if they want the relationship to last. Clara loved Ethan, but she knew that her dreams were different, and she couldn't keep compromising hers for his. She had to choose what was best for her future, even if that meant letting go of someone she still cared deeply about. Sometimes the hardest decision is realizing that the relationship, as much as you love the person, isn't right for you anymore. It's painful, it's heart-wrenching, but ultimately it's the best thing for both of you. When your dreams no longer align, it's time to let go and allow each other the space to find the happiness and fulfillment you deserve. This story resonates with so many people because love and relationships aren't always enough to keep two people together when their life paths diverge. Sometimes we have to make the hard decision to let go even when we still care for the person. A letting go. Find Myself commented, "I've been in a relationship where I loved them, but our dreams were going in different directions. It was so hard to let go, but I knew I needed to pursue my own path." Chapter 3, 2K likes. Letting go of someone you love isn't a failure. It's an act of self-love. Sometimes our paths in life take us in different directions, and we have to allow ourselves to follow our own dreams. Oh, our dreams are different, shared. We had everything in common, but our futures were so different. I loved them, but I realized that staying together would mean sacrificing my happiness. 31 was 8K likes. It's important to recognize when your dreams no longer align. Love shouldn't come at the cost of your personal growth or happiness. You Chasing My Dreams wrote, "Sometimes the best thing you can do for both of you is let go. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but I'm finally on the path I'm meant to be on." 29. 1K likes. Chasing your dreams doesn't mean you don't love the person. It just means that you have to prioritize your own happiness and future. Who moving forward? With hope said, love is important, but living a life that fulfills you is more important. I had to walk away because we were no longer aligned in our goals. 27, 3K likes. Sometimes love means setting each other free to pursue the life that truly makes you happy. Clara's story reminds us that love is only part of a relationship. The most important thing is that both partners are aligned in their dreams and values. If that alignment is no longer there, it's okay to let go. Choosing yourself, your dreams, and your future is not selfish. It's necessary for growth and happiness. I loved you with all my heart. But once I discovered the truth, I couldn't go back. Have you ever loved someone so deeply, but discovered that everything you thought you knew about them was a lie? Love is built on trust, and when that trust is broken, everything changes. This is the story of Rachel and Tom. They were in love, or so Rachel thought. But one night, Rachel discovered a secret that would shatter her world forever. This is a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and the painful realization that some truths are too painful to ignore. Rachel and Tom had been together for 3 years. They met through mutual friends at a party, and from the moment they spoke, Rachel felt an instant connection. They shared the same sense of humor, the same dreams, and spent their days building a life together. Rachel trusted Tom completely. He was her best friend, her partner, and the love of her life. But as time passed, things started to change. Rachel began to notice small things that didn't quite add up. Tom would come home late from work, smelling like perfume that wasn't hers. He was distant, spending less time with her, and his phone would often be locked or face down when he was around her. At first, Rachel dismissed it as nothing. Maybe he was just stressed from work or had a lot on his plate. But as the signs piled up, she started to feel something wasn't right. One evening, while Tom was in the shower, Rachel grabbed his phone. She told herself she wouldn't snoop, but her gut told her to check. As she opened his messages, her heart stopped. There in black and white were texts to another woman, flirtatious, intimate messages that Tom had been hiding for months. Rachel's world came crashing down. The man she trusted, the man she loved, had been cheating on her. He was having an affair with someone she didn't even know. Rachel was stunned, unable to move or process what she had just read. She couldn't breathe. The trust she had in Tom was gone in an instant. When he came out of the shower, Rachel confronted him. At first he denied everything, then eventually admitted it. He apologized, said it was a mistake, and begged for her forgiveness. But Rachel knew in her heart that she couldn't forgive him. The betrayal was too deep. No apology could change the fact that he had broken her trust. She loved him with all her heart, but she couldn't go back to a relationship that was built on lies. Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences in any relationship. It doesn't just break trust. It breaks your sense of security, your sense of who the other person truly is. Rachel's love for Tom was real. But once she discovered the truth, everything she thought she knew about him changed. It's easy to say that you can forgive someone, But forgiving someone who has betrayed you goes far beyond saying, "I'm sorry." It's about whether you can truly look at them the same way again. For Rachel, the answer was no. Love should be built on trust, respect, and honesty. When any of those are violated, the foundation of the relationship crumbles. Rachel didn't just lose trust in Tom. She lost faith in the very person she thought she knew so well. The hurt of betrayal doesn't just disappear with an apology. It lingers, it festers, and it makes moving forward difficult. Even though Rachel loved Tom deeply, she knew that staying in a relationship with someone who had betrayed her would only hurt her in the long run. Love in this case wasn't enough to erase the damage done by the lies and deceit. Sometimes the hardest thing you have to do is walk away from someone you still love, because you know deep down that you deserve better. This story resonates with so many people on Reddit, because betrayal is a feeling that many of us have experienced. Once trust is broken, it's incredibly difficult to rebuild, and sometimes it's simply not worth the effort. You betrayed. Hart commented, "I've been in a relationship where my partner cheated on me. I loved them, but after the betrayal, I couldn't stay. The trust was shattered, and no matter how much I loved them, I couldn't forgive them." 38 1K likes. Forgiveness is a personal choice, but the truth is, sometimes love can't heal a broken heart. The damage done by betrayal can last a lifetime. Letting go for self-love shared. I stayed in a relationship after betrayal, hoping things would get better, but they never did. Walking away was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the best decision for my mental and emotional well-being. 35 7K likes. Walking away from someone you love is never easy, but sometimes it's the healthiest choice you can make. It allows you to heal and find peace again. Healing from betrayal wrote, "No one should have to live with the weight of betrayal. I loved them, but once trust was broken, I couldn't continue in the relationship I had to put myself first." To 32 4K likes. Self-love is essential after betrayal. It's about recognizing that you deserve a relationship built on trust, respect, and honesty. Finding strength. In letting go said, "I thought I could forgive, but the hurt was too deep." Sometimes, letting go is the only way to heal and move forward. I'm finally at peace with my decision. 29 2K likes. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love the person. It means you're choosing yourself and your well-being over the pain caused by their actions. Rachel's story reminds us that while love is important, it's trust and respect that truly sustain a relationship. When those are broken, the relationship becomes impossible to repair. It's okay to walk away even when you still love the person. You deserve a love that's built on honesty, trust, and mutual respect. And sometimes that means letting go to heal and find happiness. I loved you, but I couldn't forgive the past, and that's when everything started to fall apart. Have you ever loved someone so deeply, but no matter how hard you try, you just couldn't forgive their past mistakes? Love is powerful, but forgiveness is just as important. This is the story of Emily and Daniel. They were deeply in love, but one mistake from Daniel's past would change everything. Emily tried to move past it, but the pain of the betrayal lingered, and she realized she couldn't keep going in the relationship. And that's when everything started to fall apart. Emily and Daniel had been together for 5 years. They met when they were both in their early 20s, and from the moment they met, it felt like they were meant to be. They shared everything, their hopes, their dreams, and their love for each other. They talked about getting married, building a life together, and growing old side by side. But everything changed when Emily discovered something about Daniel's past that would haunt their relationship. It wasn't that Daniel was a bad person, but he had made a mistake a year before they met. He had been in another relationship, and during that time he had cheated on his ex-girlfriend. Emily never knew about it, and it never came up in conversation. But one day, while Daniel was on a business trip, Emily found an old email thread from his ex revealing the truth. The betrayal was years old, but the discovery shattered Emily. She confronted Daniel when he returned, and he admitted everything. He apologized profusely, saying that it was a mistake and that he had changed. He told her that he had learned from his past and that he would never make the same mistake again. But no matter how much he apologized, Emily couldn't shake the pain. She loved him deeply. But the thought of him betraying someone he loved haunted her every day. She tried to forgive him, but the trust was broken. Every time she looked at him, she couldn't forget what he had done, and it started to eat away at their relationship. As the months went by, the tension grew. Emily started distancing herself both emotionally and physically. She couldn't let go of the past, and Daniel could see it. He was still in love with her, but he could feel her slipping away. Emily felt torn between the love she had for Daniel and the pain of the betrayal she could never fully forgive. This is the painful reality that many of us face. Loving someone, but being unable to move past their mistakes. Forgiveness is one of the most difficult things to offer, especially when the person you love has betrayed your trust. Emily wanted to forgive Daniel. She loved him and wanted to move on, but the pain of his past actions was too much to bear. In relationships, love is essential, but trust is just as important. Without trust, it's difficult to feel safe in a relationship, and without safety, love begins to fade. Emily realized that while she loved Daniel, she couldn't continue in a relationship where the past was always looming over them. The emotional weight of betrayal doesn't disappear just because time has passed. The wound was still there. And no matter how much Daniel tried to prove himself, Emily couldn't forget. Sometimes love alone isn't enough to sustain a relationship. Forgiveness is necessary for healing. But it can take time, sometimes more time than we're willing to give. Emily's decision to step away wasn't easy, but she knew deep down that she couldn't keep sacrificing her own happiness for the sake of love. Choosing yourself and your peace of mind is just as important as choosing the person you love. This story resonates with so many people because it speaks to the difficulty of forgiving someone who has betrayed you. Even when the love is still there, the pain of the betrayal can be impossible to forget. So struggling with forgiveness commented, "I've been in a relationship where I couldn't forgive my partner for their past mistakes. No matter how much they apologized, I couldn't get past the betrayal, and it eventually tore us apart." 38 3K likes. Forgiveness is a personal journey, and it's not always easy to let go of the hurt. Sometimes the pain is too deep to overcome, even with the best intentions. Letting go. For healing shared, I tried to forgive my ex, but the trust was gone. We loved each other, but the emotional scars were too much for me to bear. It's painful to let go, but sometimes it's necessary for your own healing. 35 8K likes. Letting go doesn't mean you don't love the person. It means you're choosing to heal and prioritize your well-being. Trust is everything wrote. I was in a relationship where the trust was broken, and even though I loved them, I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. Sometimes love isn't enough when trust is shattered. Chapter 32. K likes, trust is the foundation of any relationship. Without it, the relationship can never truly be the same. Continue healing from Betrayal said, I loved them with all my heart, but the betrayal was something I could never forgive. I had to walk away no matter how much it hurt, because I deserved peace. 30, 4K likes choosing peace over the pain of betrayal is never easy, but it's often the best choice for your emotional well-being. Rachel's story reminds us that love alone cannot fix everything. Forgiveness is a process, and sometimes, no matter how much we love someone, we can't move past their mistakes. Choosing yourself, your peace, and your happiness is sometimes the most difficult but necessary decision you can make.